What's up, guys? Welcome back to Call with Clinton. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to Ajaxify Django in a stance. In the previous video, I showed you how to implement a like and dislike button in Django, whereby users can come in, they can create an account, they can like a blog post, or they can dislike a blog post in a stance. So in this video, I'm going to do this video now. We are going to do the same thing, but this time we are going to do this liking and disliking without the page reloading. In stance, so you can check from the previous video. Whenever a user likes a blog post, the browser always reload, you understand? So let me just show you an example. Whenever I like this blog post, you can see now we've just liked it. Now the browser reloaded, you understand? And this is not the best way to go about it. This is a poor user experience, you understand? So if I dislike now, you can see the browser still reloads, you understand? This is poor user experience you get. So right now on the other tab now, I can like a blog post or I can dislike a blog post, but this time around the browser does not reload, you get. So this is the Ajax version, you understand? This is the Ajax version, you understand? So if I click on the like icon, so I click on it right now, you can see the page does not reload, and it tells us that we need to log in before we can like a blog post, right? So now once I log in, I'm going to log in now to the page. I'm going to log in through the admin. So let's do that right now. Okay, so right now I am already logged in, you understand? So go back to the page again. So if I click on that like button right now, just click on it, you can see it's updates, you understand? Updated. If I click again, click, it's on likes and likes, and this time the page does not reload, you understand? So I can like a blog post. If I click again, click on the black button itself, you can see we've liked the blog post. Click off, click on. Instead, you can like and dislike a blog post without the page reloading. Instead, if I go down to the admin section right now, this blog post is called, what was it called again? I think the title is called Django Project Ideas. If I go down to the admin section, go down to post, I want to show you something. You see that that's the current logged in user has really liked this blog post. Instead, I click on Django Project Ideas. So go down to, you can see we already have Clint selected. The Clint is selected already. If I go down to the home page again, if I dislike this blog post, dislike now. Go down to the admin, so refresh this page. You can see nobody likes the blog post, understand? So that's it now. So in this video, I'll show you how to Ajaxify Django. You get. So I want to say this now. If you were not part of the previous tutorial, the one without Ajax, I'd love you guys to go and watch it. Understand? It's going to help you understand what we are doing here better, understand? But if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to watch it, it's fine. You can get along with this one. You can catch up with this particular tutorial. So that's what I'll do. We are getting started right now. So right now, let's get started, understand? So if you remember in the previous tutorial, I used bootstrap icons and I used the XVG icons. I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So the bootstrap icons, so let me show you where it is. So you go down to your detail page, so your blog detail.html. You can see I use this bootstrap XVG icon. You can see they are so long and they look quite ugly. This time around, I'm going to be using Font Awesome. Understand? I'm going to be using Font Awesome icons. Understand? So let's do that right now. So I'm going to go down to fontawesome.com. So simply search for that. So I'm going to say Font Awesome. Fontawesome.com. So this time, before Font Awesome icon display on your website, before it can display, you need to do some setting. You need to do some configurations on your website. Instead, to import your link, do some other stuff before a Font Awesome icons can display on your website. Understand? So at the end of this video, I'll show you how to configure Font Awesome icons in your Django project so that you can display the icons if you are online or offline. So if you want to learn how to do that, wait to the end of the video. I'll show you how to configure Font Awesome so it can display on your website either offline or online. It works for both sides, you get. So my internet connection is quite slow. You can see the website is still trying to load. So currently I have Font Awesome open, so just click on icons, understand? So I'm going to click on icons, click on the icons tab there. Okay, we're currently on the icons page, understand? So I'm going to simply search for the art icon, understand? I'm going to say HEA. I can pick the like. Let's use the like button this time, LAIKE. So let's see, enter. So we are currently on the like. So now we have some like icons. I'm going to go for this too. So I'm going to understand. I'll click on this right now. So let's get this icon. So it's going to give us the code for it. So right now we already have the icon displayed. So just copy this code, click on it, and the code gets copied. So just copy it. So I'm gonna copy that to our page now. So I'll paste that just somewhere above here. Just paste that here. So paste it there. So I'm gonna copy the dark one. You can see we want the light one and the dark one, understand? So copy this other one, understand? So copy and just copy the code. So after it's copied, so just go up here and paste it. I want to have them available. I want to have them ready. So we paste them over there. Understand? So that's it. So run server again. Let's run my server. So run server. So that's it. Okay. So currently my server is running. Understand? My server is running. So that's nice. I want to show you if this is okay, my server is running now to the home page. So to our blog post page. I think this is the page here. So I'll just refresh this page. Let's see if the icon displays on our on the website. Let's see. So refresh this page to resend. Let's see. Oh, forget about this error. So what's going on. Okay, sorry for the error. It's nothing. So just go back to let's leave here and everything will be fine now. So I want to see the icon displayed on our web page, understand? So let's see. You can see we have the two icons. We just copied these two. We just brought in these two icons. You can see they are displaying on the page. So I want to be sure they are displaying first, understand? So what I want to say is this: you can't just go to Font Awesome and copy these codes and paste on your website and expect them to show. They won't just show. You need to do some configurations on your website first, understand? So at the end of this video, I'll show you how to configure font icons, Font Awesome icons, so that they can display on your website either offline or online. So if you want to learn how to do that, wait to the end of this video. I'll show you how to do that, understand? So right now the icons are displaying on our website. That's fine. So what I want to do now, I want to replace this SVG with this Font Awesome icon. So we're doing that right away. So our detail page now, you can see we have some codes here. I'll copy out this form. We're not going to be using the form this time around. I'll take out this form. So that's it there. Okay, this place, I'm going to remove this post.likes.count for now. So remove that. Just put in 0 there. So we have this Font Awesome icon. So yeah, I just copied the icon. Okay, I can see them right now. So I'm going to start with the regular. So I'm going to comment out the first one. So for now, we're going to work with the regular. The regular is light one. So we're just going to cut it and paste inside here. Paste instead. So and I need to increase the size of this Font Awesome icon. Just go to the top of the page. I'll simply say you understand. I'm going to copy the tag. You know, it has an I tag. So let me say font size. I'm going to say font size. I'll simply say 20 pixels. I need to give it the cursor pointer. So whenever you overround it, it's going to show that hand icon. So I'm going to say cursor pointer. So let's see how it looks like. So to the browser, and I'm going to close down this other page. You don't need that again. So I need to just break down this order. This code is just to show you how things are. I already tested out things beforehand, understand, before making this tutorial, understand. So just refresh the page. Now you can see we have the Font Awesome icon looking all good here. You can see we have the cursor pointer. I think it's too small. Let's increase the size a bit. I'll simply say 22 pixels. 22. So I did increase the font size. Let's see if it's reflected. So refresh this page. I think it's bigger now and better now. So right now let's go down to the Ajax part. It's not difficult, it's very simple. So just watch with me, stay along with me. You're going to learn how to do it. It's super simple, you understand? So what I want to do now is that don't worry about copying the code. The source code will be in the video description. I'm gonna drop the source code for you down below so you can test out things yourself. Okay, now so let's get started right away. So I'm going to increase my window so you can see things clearly. Okay, now so let's go down. We're going to add some JavaScript now. Simple JavaScript, nothing difficult at all. So what I want to do is I want to simply want to get this element. Want to get it in JavaScript. Want to be able to select this element with JavaScript instead. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to select that element right now with JavaScript. So I'm going down to the detail page. So now just go down to the bottom of the page. To the bottom, I'm going to remove some of these scripts. I don't need this script tag again. You understand? So I'm going to remove all this one. We don't need them. Understand? Remove them. Okay, now so what I want to do now, we're going to go down to the bottom of the page. As I've said, and I'm going to add a little JavaScript, you understand? So I'm going to simply come down here and say script. Let's say script. Okay, that's it now. So what I want to do is simple. So I want to select this element. I want to select this icon. You understand this icon? So I'll simply use the query selector. I'll simply say let btn equal to, say, document dot query selector. Document the query selector. I'll simply come over here and do you understand that element you see here. You can see it as an I tag. You understand? I'm sure what you're talking about. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I understand that is I tag. So is it over here? Where is it on top? You can see that's the I tag here. Right now, I just selected this element. You get. So what do we need to do next? So after we've done this, this is what we need to do next. I want to add an event listener to this. I want to add a click event to this icon, to this like button. You understand? So add a click event. I'll simply say btn.add event listener. Add event listener. So after I've done this now, I want to add a click event. Understand? Click event. So whenever we click on that button, I want to make sure that a function gets executed. Understand? Let me say I'm gonna call this function like post. Understand? Like post. You get. So that was it over there. So let me come down here and let me say I'm going to declare the function. This is simple JavaScript. If you want me to start teaching JavaScript here, if you want me to do some basic JavaScript tutorial for you guys on this channel, so if you want that, so just drop that in the comment section saying you want some JavaScript tutorials. I'll do some for you so you can understand the base of JavaScript, because it's really important as a web developer. You need to have some knowledge of JavaScript. You understand? So I'll say function like post. Function like post, understand? So after I've done that, I'm going to put in the event parameter. So right now, whenever we click on that like icon, this function called like post get executed, understand? So I'm going to simply say, whenever I click on it, I want to simply alert something. I'll simply alert hello world, understand? Whenever I click on that icon, I'll simply alert hello world, you get? So let's try that to the browser now. So refresh the page. So click on the like button. You can see we have this alert, understand? So whenever we click on this button, this function here, this function called like post get executed. But that's not what we want to do. We don't want to pop up these alerts. We don't want to display an alert, understand? What we want to do is this. I want to make sure that whenever I click on this button, on this like button, I want to simply get the ID of this blog post. I want to get the ID of this blog post and then send the ID to the back end. You understand? That's what I want to do. So how do we go about this? So right now, just up here, I'm going to create a new variable now. I'm going to create a variable called ID. I'm going to call this variable this variable is going to be called post ID, post underscore ID. So this variable is going to hold the ID of this blog post. Understand? So the ID is going to be post.id. We check closely. We have this post coming from our Django view. This post coming from our Django view. Our Shiva is coming from, so this is our Django view over here. This time we have this blog detail page. We have this post variable. You can see it up here, and it's been passed to the context instead. I mean, it's been passed to our context instead. And on the detail page, we have access to that post variable. Understand? And right now, I just simply got the post ID. So I want to send this post ID to the backend. Whenever I click on the like button, that's what I want to do. It's as simple as that. So how do we go about that? So right now we are going to use the fetch API. You understand, the fetch API? But before we do that, so this fetch API helps to transfer data it helps to fetch data or post data to a given server, as far as you provide the URL to that server. Understand? Okay. So right now, I just have to make this bigger. So as I said earlier, we want to send this post ID to the back end. Understand? So a view in the back end. Well, so what I want to do now, so I want to go down to the back end and I want to go down to our views.py and create this view. So let's go and let's create this view. I want to send the post ID. So before I do that, I'm going to clear some of this stuff we have here. This was from the last video, so I'm going to clear them. We don't need them here again. All these things you see here, we are going to implement them on the view we want to create right now. So right now, just leave them there. So let's just come down here and I'm going to create this view called like post. I'm going to create this view. I'm going to call it like post. You can give it whatever name you like. Whatever name you like is fine. I'm calling mine like post instead. Whatever name you like. It must not correlate to this with the function we have here. It must not correlate. No. It must not be the same name. So whatever name you like, can call the two of them. Different names is perfect. You understand? So I'm gonna call this view. I'm gonna say like post. So gonna have the request. So now request. So now this view is gonna this view now is expecting the data from the front end. You understand? Whenever we click on that like button, we want to send that post ID to this view. You understand? So since we're expecting the since this view is expecting the data from the front end, it's gonna be returning a JSON response. We're gonna return a JSON response on this view. You understand? We're gonna return a JSON response. So for that, I need to import JSON response. I already did that already. So from Django.http, just import JSON response. You get. So down here, I'll simply say return JSON response. So return JSON response. Okay, this is how you implement Django and Ajax. If you don't know how to do that, I'm showing you how to do that right now. So return JSON response, and after that we say request. No, not request. We're gonna pass in. We're gonna pass in a message, whatever thing you like. I'm gonna simply say it's working. It's working. Don't worry, you get to understand what is happening. So it's working, and after that, I'll simply say safe equal to false. Okay, so that's it over there. So right now I need to create a URL for this view. So just come down here. So let's create a URL. I'll simply say path. Let me call that. I'll simply say like underscore posts. So I'm gonna simply say views dot like post. I think that's what I called it, like post. And then I think that's all for now. And now I'll just simply say the name. I'm gonna call the name like. I think I call it like post. I'm gonna be sure. Okay, that was it, like post. Okay, that was it over there. So we have the view created already. We already have the URL mapping for this view. You understand? So right now we can now send data to this particular view. Before we can send data to this view, we need the URL mapping for this particular view. Understand? And that's where this URL comes in. So the detail page right now, I'll simply call I'm gonna use a fetch API. So before I do that, I'm gonna simply say fetch. So fetch does it then. But before I proceed, I need to like declare the URL we are sending our data to. We want to send this data to that view we created right now. So I'm going to declare the URL. So I'm going to say let URL be equal to should be equal to the URL name. So you know the URL name for that view is called like. It's called like. Let's confirm. It's called like. Understand? Okay, that's it done. So the data I want to transfer, I need to also declare a variable called, I'm going to say const data. I'm going to use const. I say const data should be equal to. So now that's it there. So what do we need to add again? Const data, and then I'm going to give it a key name. Understand? So right there, I'm going to give it a key. I'm going to call this key ID. Why this ID? That's the key. The ID is going to point to the main value, and the main value we are trying to send to the backend is called post ID, post underscore ID, right? So I'm going to say post underscore ID. So I'm going to send this data to the backend now. So let's continue now. So we already have the URL, we have the data already. So now let's come over here. We're going to say fetch. So we have the URL. Understand? I declare a variable called URL. Understand? So that was it over there. After we've done that, now we need to add some more parameters. Understand? So after we've done that, we're going to simply say. So right now we're going to simply add some more parameters. Understand? So I'm going to put in these curly braces, and then I'm going to simply say method. You're going to be this is a post request. It's a post method because we are sending something to the database. It's a post method you get. So I'm going to say method. I'm going to simply say sorry. The method is not going to be in. It's going to be method. I think, and then it's going to be pointing down to post. This is a post request. After that, we're going to also say headers. Understand? Headers. I think that's headers, and I hope I'm correct. Headers. So now you're going to say content type. So we are saying JSON data. So content type. I'm going to say application /JSON. Okay. After we've done that again, so I think that's it for now, but we are not done yet. I'm still coming back to this aspect. So I'm going to come down again and declare the body. Understand? The body is data. The body is simply the data we are trying to send to the backend. That's what the body is. Understand? So I'm going to simply say, right now this body is in an object format. It's in a kind of a dictionary. We need to convert this body, this data now to JSON. So just let me come down here. I'm going to simply say JSON dot stringify, and then we're going to put in the variable is called data. So just pass that in there. Okay, so that's all we need to do. So after we've done that now, we are going to listen for a promise. So we are going to run this promise twice. So promise now. So we're going to simply say rest. So what this does, I'm going to explain. Let me just write it out. Let me just type it out. So we're going to have this parameter. So after that, we are going to simply convert this response.json. So what we're doing now is simple. Understand? After we've transferred this thing, this is not really important. This one, after we've sent this into the backend, we are likely to expect a feedback. We're likely to expect a data from the backend. So as that data is coming in, we are going to convert that data to JSON, just up here, and start to JSON data. And this is the second promise now. This second promise is not going to hold the actual data we are expecting. The first one convert the data to a JSON format, while the second of them simply helps to give us the actual data we want. Understand? So I'm going to have a variable. It's going to have a parameter called data. So we are simply using arrow functions here. Understand? So after that, we're going to simply say console.log data. Understand? So that's it now. One thing is that we will check closely whenever you are using post request in Django on your forms. You understand, we always provide the CSRF token tag just on top of our form, inside the form, right? Here also, we also need that CSRF token. But how do we implement it over here? We need to like use the Django Ajax way. You understand? So let's do that right now. Go down to the browser. Okay, now we're going to say Django Ajax CSRF token. Django Ajax CSRF token. So enter. Okay, we're going to get this Django Ajax CSRF token right now. So just click on the second link. Okay, second link. If we don't implement, if we don't add this CSRF token to the code, it's going to throw an error, a 403 error. You understand? So okay, so right now let me show I'm talking about. So to the browser. Okay, before I implement this Django Ajax CSRF token, I need to just show you the error that's going to pop up. You understand? So let's do that right now. To the code now. So our code. Okay, I think everything is set already. Let me show what I'm talking about. So to the browser. So I think there's a okay. Just over here, refresh the page. Okay, I think the page is up. So click on this page, click on this now. So let's check out the console, the browser's console. We're going to see an error, a 403 error over there. That's the error I'm expecting to see. So let's see what it says. The console. Oh, I think I'm seeing a different error over here. I'm seeing a different error over here instead. So let's see. Let me check what this problem is. Okay, right now the error is not displayed here. Let's check our terminal instead. So if you check the terminal, you can see we have a 403 error. A 403 error is saying forbidden, saying CSRF token is missing. So now let's add the CSRF token. So everything will be fine instead. So to the browser right now. So we're going to go down to this Django. So we're going to copy this code. Scroll down to this part here. Copy this code over here. This function. Just Ctrl C. I think I might have copied it, so let's go down to paste this now. So I'm going to paste this just on top of our script tag. The first thing in the script tag, just paste it at the very top. So paste it over there. Okay, it's on top, it's at the very top now. Okay, that's it there. After we've done that, I'm going to just keep some space between them. After you've done that now, just scroll down to this page again. Just scroll down to the bottom. You need to also add this XCF token to your headers. Just copy this part. Ctrl C. I might have copied it now. I think I can paste it just in the headers right here. Just put in a comma there and enter. So we're going to simply paste that. Ctrl V, and I think that's all you need to do now. So we've pasted that over there also. So now I think we need to refresh the page again. Refresh the page now. Okay, the browser is trying to reload. So let's click on this like button again. You can see it says it's working. That means it's working. Understand? So this is working, is coming from our view. You know how we made this view just here, and the view is made to return this JSON response. Understand? It's working. Understand? And we check closely. This is what you're expecting from the view. this is what you're expecting on the this is working, is what you're expecting on this particular page, on this page here, on this second dot. Then that's the data we are expecting, and you see we're able to console that data to the browser's console instead. So we will check closely, you can see we have it's working, being printed on the browser's console. So that's it right there. So right now we've been able to send the ID of this blog post to that Django view, to that view. So what we want to do next time, we want to be able to use the ID on that view instead. So we are going to go down to that view right now. So that view now, so let's go down to that view. So that view right now, just go down there and let's just use the view. Let's just use the ID. Just let me say, right now I'm going to say data. This is a variable. I'm going to say data should be equal to, what's happening? It should be equal to json.load. Json.load. Okay. So right now what we want to do is simple. Now we want to simply get the ID we sent to this view. And so before we do that, we need to import JSON. So go down to the top of your code now. Let's import JSON. So I'm gonna simply say import JSON. You understand? So that's it over there. So after we've imported JSON, just come out to the bottom now, as you can see. So I'm gonna simply say JSON.load. I'm gonna say request.body. So the body is coming from, if you check closely, we declared, if you check from our detail page, we call this variable body. Understand? So that's where we have the body, just up here. So you have requested body now. So we want to get the actual ID. So I'm going to simply say ID should be equal to, I'll say data. So data is the variable we just declared up here. Data, then square bracket. So data square bracket, and after that data square bracket ID. So data square brackets ID. So the ID inside of this square bracket is coming from the detail page. Understand? Detail page ID. Understand? This ID you see here. Okay, right now we already have the ID we want to get, so that's fine. So now I want to get the actual blog post that has this ID. I want to get the actual blog post that has the ID. So how do we go about that? So let me say post should be equal to, post.object.get ID equal to this ID we just declared up here. That's what we want to do. So after we've gotten this post, now what we want to do is simple. So whenever a logged in user click on this icon, I want to enable them like the blog post instead. I'm gonna just come down here and say, first of all, before you do that, I need to make sure the user is authenticated. I want to make sure that you are logged in instead. I'm gonna say if request.user.is authenticated. So if request.user.is authenticated, so I'm gonna simply say post.likes. So what I'm doing now is this. Okay, now I need to explain this part again. So go down to our models.py. So I already explained all this in the previous video, so I'm going to explain it again. So go down to our models.py. So you check close. We have this post. We have this post model. And this post model, we have a field called likes, and this likes points to the user model. Understand? So whereby users can like, whereby users can, you can see it's a many-to-many relationship. What this means is that a user. What this means is that a blog post can be liked by many users. I understand, and it also means that a user can like many blog posts. That's why it is a many-to-many relationship. You understand? So that's why we are doing that there. So what I want to do is that whenever a user click on that button, I want to enable them like the blog post. You understand? So I'm going to say post.likes.add. So in that view, so post.likes.add. So you can see the likes. This likes you see here is pointing to the user model. You understand? So I want to add the current logged in user. I was going to say post.likes.add. So your current logged in user is now referred to the request.user. I'm going to be request.user. So that was it over there. Okay, but I'm not done yet. But let's ask. Okay, that was what we are trying to do, right? Okay, now let's see. So now to the admin. Now. So let's go down over here. Refresh the page. I hope the server is not down. The server is down. The page is okay. The server is down. I don't know why it's not displayed. Okay. Refresh. So currently we are on our admin. Currently is our admin right here now. So I want to click on, let's say, backend roadmap, backend web development roadmap. So you can see we have these two users. These are the users. These are the two users we have on the website. These are the users we have on the website. We only have two users currently. Okay, so right now we have one logged in user, which is Clint. You understand? So just come over here now. If I click on this icon, if I click on it, this okay, I threw an error now. I said, let's see what the error says. Just got an error talking about the CSRF token. I think we need to refresh the page again. That's what the problem is coming from. Home, go down to the home page. That's where the issue is coming from. So we come back. Let's go down to the page again. So right now, just click on this icon. Click. Perfect. There's no error. So right now, I just clicked on the icon. You understand? And I clicked on the icon. That means I've really liked this blog post. You understand? If I go down to the admin now, it's the admin. So let's go down to the other post. The post is called Build an e-commerce website with Django. If I scroll down, it shows that Clinton has already liked the post. My clicking on that icon already signifies that I already like the post. You understand? But right now, but right now we can only like a blog post. You understand? What if I want to dislike a blog post? How do we go about it? So you need to just come down here, go down to the view now. We're going to simply check if the user has liked the blog post before. If you've liked the blog post before and they click on the icon again, that means you're trying to dislike this blog post, you get. So as me say if post dot likes, if post dot likes dot filter. So I'm trying to filter. I'm trying to check if the current users really like the blog post already. I'll say if post dot likes dot filter. So I'm gonna simply say filter ID. If you're trying to filter this user by their ID, I'll simply say equal to request dot user dot ID. So if that's it, because of user dot ID, and then we're gonna say dot exist. So that's it over there. So if we're trying to check if the current logged in user has really like the blog post, understand? We're trying to say if they've liked the blog post. If they have liked it, I'll simply remove them. I'll simply say post dot likes dot remove, and then I'll simply say requests dot user. And it's as simple as that. So after after that, I'm going to simply say else. So if the user have not liked the blog post before, if they've not liked it before, we're going to simply enable them like the blog post. As me come over here and put this post in the else block. It's as simple as that right now. So now I'm going to simply, I think we need to run server again. So let's run the server right now. Okay, run server. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do well to subscribe, like this video, share it. It's gonna really help me grow on YouTube. Thank you so much. So now that's it now. So the browser right now. So refresh this page right now. Let's refresh. I think it refreshes as well. So I'm gonna refresh there. Okay, now let's check the page. Let's check the admin. So refresh the admin. You can see the Clint still likes the blog post. You can see Clint is already highlighted. So if I click again on that icon, let's see, go down to the page again and refresh. You see this Clint not be highlighted again. Right now, I am disliking the post. You understand? Because I've already liked it before. So refresh. You can see Clint has been removed. That's awesome. That's perfect. So right now I want to simply, okay, now what I want to do is this. I want to return something to this view that tells us if a user has liked the post or not. I want to return something, just something that tells us. It can be anything. Right now I want to do something. So right now, let me create a variable now. I'll create this variable. I'm going to call this variable is not B. I'm going to call this variable checker. It's not equals check. Instead, I'm going to first of all the checker is going to be none. Understand? It's going to be none. So if a user dislike a post, I'm going to set checker to 0. Checker to 0. Checker is going to be equal to 0. This is going to equals check. It's going to be equal to 0. So if a user likes a post, here, I'm going to simply come over here and set checker to 1. I'll say checker should be equal to 1. Understand? So what do I want to do next again? I want to simply pass in. I want to get the number of likes a particular post has. Understand? So that's what I want to also get. So right now, I'll simply just come over here and I'll just create this variable at the bottom. Let's just create it at the bottom. So let me say likes should be equal to, I'm going to say likes should be equal to, so I'm going to say post dot likes post.likes.count is going to give me the total number of likes the particular post has. Okay, that's it over there. So right now I'm going to create a new variable now. This variable now, I'm going to call this variable, let's just say info. I'm going to say info going to be equal to a dictionary info. So I'm going to point the info to the first key of this info variable is going to be, I'm going to call the first one I'm going to call this check. I'm going to say checker. I'm going to say check. This is simply a key, so this check is going to point down to checker. And it's going to point down to checker. I'm going to point down to checker, and then I'm going to simply declare another variable now. I'm going to call this one the likes. I'm going to simply say number of. I'm going to simply say number of likes. NUM number of underscore likes. I'm going to show you this is recording. Let me check if this is recording. Okay, number of likes. I'm going to simply point down to. I'm going to say likes. Understand? So now right now I want to set what I want to do is simple now. What I want to do is simple. I want to simply send the dictionary to the front end. Understand? So I'm going to pass that inside here. So now I'm going to have this info. So info now. So the browser now, let's refresh and like a blog post again. So now refresh the page. Everything is working fine. So now just click on like button. You can see that info I passed to the view, to this view. You can see it now. You can see I already have it on the console on the left hand side. You can see right now it says that check is equal to 1. So if check is 1, that means a user just liked the blog post. If check is 1, you understand? If you click, you can see the number of likes is also 1. If I click again, you can see now they are both 0. If check is 0, that means a user that's like a blog post. I can see number of likes is also 0. You understand? So if you have multiple users on this, if we have multiple users, this number of likes is gonna be different. You understand? Right now I'm working with only one user, the current logged in user. You understand? You can try it on your own. You can add multiple users, log in through them like a blog post. You see everything's gonna work perfectly. You understand? So that's it there. So right now I want to use this check. I want to use this check to be able to change this button to the dark one and to the light one. Understand? So whenever I click on this, if I like a blog post, I want to change this button to the dark one that shows that I've liked it. If I unlike, I want to return back this button that shows that I've already unliked. You understand? So that's what I want to do. So right now, what I want to do now is simple. Let's go down to the page now. So right now we have access to these things. So now this info you see here, is actually the data we are consoling out in the front end. In this in the second dot, then that's the data we are actually consoling out. Understand? So what I want to do now is simple. So right now, let me come down here and say, let me say if I want to check if I want to check. I want to say if data. So I'm trying to check if check is 1. If this check is C, I want to check. I want to see if the value is 1. It's pointing to checker, because checker can be either 0, none, or 1. Understand? So I want to check if check is 1. What you want to do is simple. To the views detail page, I say if data square brackets check. Understand? This data you see here. Is simply pointing to info. This info variable we passed inside here. Understand? So after that again, I said info. That info is there, and this check is a key of that info variable. Understand? Say if check is equal to 1. If check is equal to 1, understand? That means a user liked the post. Understand? So what do I want to do now? I want to simply. So if data square bracket check is equal to 1, that means a user liked the post, right? So what I want to do now is simple. What I want to do now is say, if you check closely, I imported these two like icon. Understand? So I'm gonna bring them back here again. These two like icon. So I bring them in here. Control X. I'll paste it here. So what do you want to do now? Refresh the page now. We'll see both of them on the page. You can see now. So what I want to do is simple. I want to make sure that whenever I like a blog post, I want to make sure that we from this light button to the dark one. This time, whenever we dislike, I want to make sure we switch from the dark one to the light button. It's simple. We are going to simply use their classes. You can see these two buttons have these two for the light button. For the light button, we have it has a class called FA-regular. For the dark one, it has a class called FA solid. So I want to simply switch these things. You understand? So if you check closely, that's what I want to do now. In JavaScript part of the code, now JavaScript, I already selected this button. I already selected it with bits here. Understand? So what I want to do is simple now. If the like button, what am I saying now? If data check is equal to 1, I'll simply say btn.classList.remove. So I want to simply remove that FA regular and then add the FA solid. Understand? FA regular, and then I'm going to simply say btn.classList.add and then I'll simply say FA solid. Understand? So FA solid. So that's just it over there. FA solid. So what if data check is equal to 0? If data check is equal to 0, so I'm gonna simply say if data square check is equal to 0. So what do we want to do now? Simply say, I'll copy this now. We're gonna do the opposite of what we're gonna do. The opposite now. If data check is equal to 0, we are simply disliking a blog post. You understand? So I'm gonna do the opposite of what we did here. I'm gonna do the opposite. You understand? So paste that here. Right now we're gonna simply be adding the FA regular, and then we're gonna simply remove. You understand? So remove. Okay, understand? So that was it now. So you can see from the view.py, this checker can either be none, it can either be 0, or it can be 1. So if it is none, that means the user is not logged in. You understand? Because this data check can only change if the user is logged in. This checker you see here, you can see as for checker is set to none. If checker returns null on the front end, that means the user is not logged in. Understand? Why do I say so? Because checker, if you check the code carefully, you see that this checker can only change if the user is logged in. It can only change to 0 or 1 if the user is logged in. So I'll just come over here now. I'll simply write. Oh, I'm not making. Okay, I'll just come down here and to the template now. I'll simply say else. This is else if. Understand? So if data check is not equal to any of the above stuff, that means user is not logged in. So I'll simply say alert, you need to log in. And after we've done this, already, we want to do one more thing. Understand? I want to also update this. What's it called? I need to also update this number of likes, because this number of likes is what tells us the number of likes a particular blog post have. You understand? This paragraph tag. You understand? Don't also me say ID. This number of likes, what you see up here, that also is 0. So that number of likes, I want to also like get it and also update it. I'm going to say num. I'm going to give it an ID of num. So now I'll simply declare that variable up here. I'll simply say let's number of underscore likes should be equal to document dot get elements by ID. I'll simply say num. So what I want to do now, that num is here, that num. Now I want to simply also at the bottom here, after the else block, I'll simply say number of likes dot inner HTML should be equal to data square brackets. What was it called again? Data square brackets number of likes. Understand? Just copy this, Ctrl+C. Understand? So what I want to do now, so to the browser, let's see if everything works. So refresh the page. So I'm going to remove the other. I need to just have only one. So I'm going to simply comment out the other like button. So we're going to work with only one for now. Only one for now. So to the page now. Refresh. So let's see. So click on the like button. You can see it changed. It changed If I click again on it, now it shows that I've liked the blog post, but this number of likes is not updating. I want to see what the problem is. It's supposed to update. Say.inner HTML. Let's see. It's not updating. It's over here. Number of likes. Okay, I spelled that wrong. It's inner HTML. Understand? So refresh the page. So click again. Or click. You can see it shows 1. Perfect. You can see it shows that we've liked the blog post, and you can see the number of likes is already 1. If I click again on it, it shows back to 0. If I click again, you can see everything is working perfectly. You can see it's working, but we are not done yet. So if I refresh, you can see now it shows that Clinton likes this blog post. It likes this blog post. Understand? But if I refresh the page, if I refresh this page right now, okay, right now it shows that I've liked the blog post. Understand? But if I reload this page, this thing we've done here is going to return back to the default state. Understand? Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I reload the page right now, reload the page, reload. You can see now it return back to the default state. Do you know why this is happening? I'm going to explain why it's happening. That's because whenever you update the DOM in JavaScript, that's because whenever you update the DOM in JavaScript and you reload the page is going to return back to the default. It's going to return back to its normal self, as it was before JavaScript came in. So that what just happened right now. So how do we solve this problem? That's where Django comes in. Django will fix this issue for us, and I'll show you how Django does it. Understand? So Django is going to help us fix this issue. But before I come down to the Django part, I'm going to simply do a brief recap. Okay, a brief recap on what we've done so far. So what we've done so far is this now. So it's from the from the detail page, just here. From detail page, all we did is that whenever you click on the like button, we are going to run a function called like post. Understand? Like post. So this function helps to send the ID of this blog post, the ID of this blog post we are currently, to the back end. So so right now we made a view on the back end. We made a view. Here's the view. So this view is going to be expecting the ID we are sending from the front end. Instead, after I made the view, then made a URL. We declare a URL for the view. This is the ID we are sending. This const data. So this fetch API right here is going to send this view for us. Understand? As you are, and because this is a post request, we need to also add in the CSRF token, the Django Ajax way. Understand? We have to include some importing at the top here. Understand? Then we have to now declare this XCSRF token inside the headers. So after that, we have to send this data. After that we have to stringify the data we are sending, and then we listen for the .then. It's the two .then methods. Understand? So that's what we did there. So in the view now, we got the data. Now we got the ID. So we have to fetch the post that has the ID. So after that, we have to now perform some logic here for enables user to like or dislike a blog post. So that's it there. We enable to like and dislike. It's working on the back end perfectly. But whenever you refresh or whenever you reload the page, the the DOM is going to return back to the default state, and we don't want that to happen, right? So how to prevent that from occurring? So that's where Django comes in now. So I'm going to go down to our view, so our detail view. So this is the view right here. So just here, I'm going to clear out some things we did in the previous video, the video before this one. So I'm going to clear out some things we did there. Just clear them out now. So just clear them down. So what I want to do now is simple. So I've done that before in the previous. I've already done that from the previous video. You see now, what we did now is this. I said, what I did now, I simply first of all, I declared a variable called MSG. I set MSG to MSG was set to what? What's it called? MSG is set to false, right? So that's it over there. So after that, I need to now check if the user. This is our detail view, the blog detail view. So that I need to now check if the user is logged in. If the user is logged in, like I have to get I got the logged in user. So right now, I now have to check, and I have to now check for this now. I need to check if the current user likes the blog post. If the current logged in user likes the blog post, I then set MSG to true. At first, MSG is set to false. But if the current logged in user likes the blog post, I set MSG to true. So this MSG is going to help us regulate if this icon is going to remain dark or light after the page reloads. That's what the MSG is going to help us regulate. Understand? So after that, I need to pass this MSG to the context dictionary. Understand? I need to pass the MSG, the context dictionary. You can see it's already here, MSG. So to our view, so our detail page now, just above. You know, if we check closely, we would our JavaScript at the bottom of the page. So just above now, just on top now. So just come down here. So let me say if MSG is true, that means the user like the blog post already, right? So I'll say if MSG now. So I'm gonna check if MSG is true, means user liked the blog post, right? Okay, so like the blog post. So now I'm gonna copy this solid icon, Ctrl X, and paste here. Paste, and then else. If MSG is false, that means user has not liked, or he does not like it. So I'm gonna just paste that here. Understand? So that's it over there now. So one more thing, it's also passing. If you check closely, after a user has liked a blog post, this thing returns back to 0. Understand? So to avoid that, you need to also put in the total number of likes a particular blog post has. I'm going to come out and say post.likes.count. Understand? So we check closely. That way you can see we can access posts on this page. We can access posts on this particular page. So that's it there. So now refresh the page now. I hope everything works. You can see the user already liked the blog post already. The user likes it. If I click again on it, it returns back to 0. Understand? Click again. It returns back to 1. If I refresh the page, it remains. Understand? It remains. So I'm going to log in as a different user right now. I'm logging as a different user. I'm going to log in as Mike. Currently, I'm logged in as Clint. So I'm going to log in as Mike. Login. Let's just say Mike. So login. So right now a different user is logged in. If I refresh the page now, if a different user is logged in, this thing is going to return back to the light version because this current user has not yet liked the post. But up here, it's still going to remain 1, telling us that it already has 1 like. Understand? So refresh this page right now. It returned back to the light version. That's because the current user now has not yet liked this blog post. It was Clint that liked the blog post before. The current user has not yet liked it. But it's showing 1 here. Telling us that one user have already liked the blog post before. So if I click on this, if I click on it again, you can now see it now says 2. It says 2. Number of likes now. It means that Clinton and Mike has already liked the blog post. Now it says 2. You can see now. It says number of likes is 2. So if I refresh the page, if I go down to the admin now, what's the name of this blog post? It's called Build an e-commerce website with Django. So come on to the admin. Let's go down to posts. Click on this. You can see Clinton and Mike has both liked this blog post. Understand? So I refresh the page. The style still stays. It still stays there. If I click on it, it turns back. If I come down here, refresh the page, it's going to only show Clinton as liked the blog post. Understand? It's going to only show. So you can see it shows Mike. Understand? So that's it. Now if I log out now, log out now. To the home page, refresh the page. Now if I click again on it, it's not pop on an alert. You can see it says you need to log in. You can only like a blog post if you are logged in. Understand? So that's it there. So that's it for this tutorial. So the source code is in the video description. Get the source code below. So right now I'm going to show you how to use font awesome icons on your source code. I'm going to show you how to do that. Understand? So it's simple. So right now go down to fontawesome.com. So these are the websites going to look like. These are the website will look like. The website is like this. So right now you can see we have some options. It says your kit and it says download kits. I'm going to show you how to use this icon offline. So click on download kits. Click on download. So click on the download icon, download button. So now we're on the download page currently. So currently we're on Font Awesome version 6. So on the download page now, just scroll down a bit. You see 6.2.0 for the web. So we are going to download the one for the web, not for desktop. Now it's downloaded the one for the web. So come down here and click on free for web. So click on just download this. This is going to be a zipped file, a raw file. So after you've downloaded it, I'm going to show you mine. So I already downloaded mine, so I'm going to go down to my download. So I'm going to go down to my download. I already downloaded mine. So if you check closely, you can see this stuff here. Font awesome -free. You can see it over there. Font awesome free. So just extract the file, extract it. Simply right click on it, and you can extract the file. Sometimes you might have extracted yours. Okay, just extract the file. So I already extracted mine. So I already extracted my own. So open the folder, open again. So you see a folder called web font. Inside of the you see a folder called web font. The folder is called web font. So this folder, just copy this folder, come down to your project source code, go down to your static.file, go down to your static folder in your Django code. Understand? So your Django code, go down to static folder. So you can see, paste that web font inside the static folder. It's not just inside this web font. Okay, I'm sorry, before I come down to this web font, copy the web font and paste in your static folder. So after you might have copied the web font, so go down to CSS. You understand? You can copy this all.cs, copy this CSS file called all. You can copy that the all or the all.min. But just go for the all.css, copy it. After I have copied the code, copy it and come now. Make sure you paste this all.css inside of your. It should be this all.css. It should be ahead. It should be one step ahead of this web font folder. It should be one step ahead. You will see now. This all.css just imported. The all.css is inside of the CSS folder, right? While the web font is outside. You see, I want this web font to be one step backward before that all.css folder. Should be one step backward. You can one step backward to this all.css folder. You understand? Make sure it is one step backward. What you can see me do is that you can see me create a folder and paste in the all.css before. After I might have created that folder, you make sure that web font is outside of that folder. It's not inside. It's not in the same folder. You can see we have the web font folder over here, and we have the all of CSS inside of the CSS folder. And I said before, make sure your web font folder is one step backward. Just take note of that. After you've done that, now you can then link your all of CSS in your base template. You can link it as a normal CSS file. Just link it up here. Just link it here. You can see where I linked mine now. Static CSS, all the CSS. Link it as you link a normal CSS file. That's how you do it. So that's how you link font awesome icons, and you can use the icons offline. So after you've done all these configurations, now you can just come down to the font awesome page. Click on icons. So now we are going to just search for an icon. Let's just search for car. Search for car now. So it's coming up. So right now we have some car icons. So click on this one, the first one. So we check closely now. We have different variations of a car icon. We have different type. We have this one. Understand? Make sure the one you're using is not a pro one. So you can see it says start using this icon. This is a free icon. If I click on this one, you can say start using this pro icon. It's not going to work. Pro icon will not work for what I just did. It's only going to work for the free icons. So you can see this is a free icon. There's not a pro in it. Click on this. This is a pro icon. Make sure you use icon that does not have this pro included. Understand? Because you are currently using the free font awesome styles. Understand? After you know that, you can simply copy the code over here and use in your source code. You can this is the HTML version. This is the React version. This is the Vue version. It's as simple as that. So we've come to the end of this video. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share it. Remember, the source code is down below. So I love you guys. We'll see you in the next video.